Key points 4. Key points 4. The mind is the thing within one's own consciousness, allowing one to peruse about the planet as a physical being, whilst his consciousness is the not awareness but knowing of what is going on around you. Still, I will state the mind is only able to be known as a piece of the physical body or what's within the consciousness of said individual, whether it be Lain Iwakura or someone who is angel or warlock. Still, the mind is functionally the subconscious of the brain within its perplexing moments as something more than just a brain, for as perceived of by the atheists who solely base their philosophies on the studying of the human brain rather than the consciousness of man itself. Or only could this be known by Lain Iwakura, the truth for the mind is her concept of the atheist's form of consciousness, something based on some sort of analog computer. Thus, the mind really has no bearing on the ultimate purpose of this goal of consciousness for one to blossom. Or should one be atheist who believes their consciousness is an illusion of themselves of some sort, then they shall not believe in Allah, the one God. Thus, unable to submit themselves, they will become as lost or without proper morals as someone who is illiterate, thus unable to read the Holy Quran verbatim as Allah intended. Yet Lain Iwakura is a Muslim also, so has considered the interpretation of this Quran as was Islam, or Islam is not completely disavowed yet perplexing. For it is a collection of rules not created by not created or laid out by God. Still, those people seem to follow Islam more than the only word of God, the Quran itself. Thus, they are unable to know the purpose of their own lives as abiding over their Islam or rules of Islamist societies overall they really have, which is the verbatim of the Quran in Arabic. Yet, Lain Iwakura might recite the Quran in her Arabic Noor, Yet Lain Iwakura might recite the Quran in her Arabic Noor, able to convert it to another language so it could be understood by humans through Noor of another language not being digital, like humans use their language by inflection, but by knowing, not by use their language by inflection, but by the knowing of the words being spoken through this language of outer space. One must recognize Lain Iwakura might prove she is human without testing of her non-human body by others, but by her spoke of the language of Noor, able to be understood only by herself, lest she gives the words for someone else, thus not insulting them, but moving forward with herself, as none can deem proper respect. For should they not know, and they do not know, for for she is not a human, Welsh is also a law, or only bearing their respect possibly for a Caucasian human male do they give her, but when she is indeed a black Mexican or South Korean ethnicity who was born in Mexico by the float, unable to be understood through the sheer complexity of her own self, yet she took to writing this book, Noristic Thoughts, so humans might be able to further understand her, who is also a Republican. But besides the point, she had gone on the journey of herself throughout her life. Whence inside of herself she was born many thousands and thousands of years ago, visiting the Native Americans off of Mexico in ancient times. Yet she disavowed on the float the modern USA she sees as both evil or corrupt, yet believes in as arriving on the USA soil by her own birth. Still, she discovered the base of the USA as having been built on the killings of her friends, the Native Americans, so many yet close by years ago, or also was juxtaposed by her as an American citizen here on the float, or moment when she desired to move to France, but unable to for the time being. Her physical disability as a non-human female with sufficient constant physical pain requiring her to take Excedrin pills to numb this pain, or her stout addiction to cigarettes, instant coffee, or formerly crack cocaine. She had revoked a promise formerly crack cocaine. She had revoked by a promise no longer to do so, or once she had abolished her addiction to triple C or cough syrup, or DXM in other words, what had allowed her to dissociate from her body for the remainder of her life, making her Lain Iwakura as she really is, or going through her schizophrenia of the Cold War, or all of this like some kind of brutal trip. She decided she could only write of this book, Noristic Thoughts, allowing others to understand her in some kind of way, beyond what she was able to tell them with words, lest her language was so miserably controlled by herself, not allowing herself to speak of certain things, especially in the risk especially in risk of fear or possibility of being killed for it she could only write by her fingers anything she could write on the keyboard. Hoping to ascertain the truth of her Norism, the one correct philosophy of the universe, still there is something I will state. Since Lain Iwakura is Allah, she had taken it upon herself to know the truth, when no other human bothered to care or see her beyond this Caucasian human male with tattoos on their body, despite this not really being her own. Still, she had realized she was indeed this, so she took to understanding the truths of the universe. More important than being this sort of uber masculine man, or though she was the most masculine man in the universe by all regards, it was not her intent to impress others with physical capability, yet had done so by her abilities or abusing of those addictions, less exercising only rarely. Still, this feeling the drive as though she wished to be male as a female, she was only realizing she was a female far later in her life.